midterms at year end, and you just wonder how recoverable it is for the administration and the White House to try and turn this issue around.
It's horrific. And Nate Silver wrote about this over the weekend. Quote, Trump is losing normies on immigration. Americans might want strong border enforcement. They do want that. They voted for that. But they don't want ICE agents killing civilians. That's what he wrote. And then he showed this chart where you have Trump's overall approval rating. Now immigration is more tethered to that overall approval rating, and it's going down.
And this is the argument he won. He dominated in the election of November 2024. I want to turn to this story on the labour market. Amazon cutting about 16,000 roles across the company as part of ongoing restructuring efforts. Yesterday, the tech giant mistakenly sent some workers an email and calendar invite, prematurely announcing the new round of layoffs. That is just not on. That is not only embarrassing, but it's absolutely terrible, whoever received that email.
Yeah, amateur hour. Really, really nasty if you're one of those individuals, one of those 16,000 employees that now is losing their jobs, and you get this mistakenly sent to you, but you actually are losing your job. Is incredibly challenging right now. The company will offer U.S.-based employees 90 days to search for a new role internally.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Purdy Financials.
But this isn't great news in the way it was rolled out. Really terrible.
Bonjour, good Abend, whatever you want to say.
About 0.4%.
Buenos dias.
Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, IBM,
we are live for the pre-market stream.
Looking for progress in artificial
I have a schedule. I stream. I'm going to try and stream Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, usually around 12:30 GMT. Not quite sure what time it is in EST, but I think it's around 7:30 AM if you're in the States, EST.
There is a ton of pressure because if you are talking about $100
so basically we're going to be doing a
capex this year,
bit of a recap of maybe how the market's going for the week, how it ended up yesterday.
Across their family of apps,
have a bit of a
they have to do something
look into upcoming events, any key data that we're looking. We mostly look at the US markets, US equities, but lately I have been buying a bit more into the London Stock Exchange and the Australian markets. I'll get into that a little bit later. Just on that, big news at the moment we have is would be the American dollar actually at a 4-year low. At the same time, you've got the sterling increasing in value against the dollar quite dramatically, as well as the Australian dollar. They are all outperforming. So that's why I'm trying to do a bit more. I'm trying to be a bit more active in those markets, and I'm seeking out those sort of the best opportunities in those markets. The Australian markets, obviously, it's a big mining culture, and at the moment we have all of the tailwinds with the rare earths, obviously with EVs, with data centers, electronics, you name it. Rare earths are just skyrocketing, specifically silver, but every rare earth's really getting their moment at the minute. So that's really what the stream's about. We just try and chat broadly about the markets, key events. I have, a lot of people would know me from a community we've set up, Purdy Financials. We have, a great community growing in here. We talk charts, talk trades. We have some custom tools such as insider wheels, so insider buying. We get that report at the end of each day, so we're going to look through that, see if there's any good opportunities in there, see where the big money's, where they're betting on themselves. And we also have Cerebro. Cerebro is my market scanner that I've been developing for a while now. It runs every morning just before the market starts. It ran this morning around 9 AM. That's GMT. So this does a full scan over the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq. It's about usually around 5,000 tickers. Does a lot of different types of analysis. Looks at sectors, looks at what sectors are hot to start off with. Looks at the SPY and the QQQ to see that if we're in a bullish or a bearish environment at the moment. A lot of that stuff factors into the stocks. It pulls back. We're looking for good swing opportunities there, anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks is really what we're shooting for. We're looking for stocks that have been in a certain amount of consolidation. We're looking at a box. we're looking at potentially a box breakout. So we're looking for stocks that have been in a range, stuck in a range for a little while. They're starting to build up a bit of volume. The VTOL's picking up, Orbital, sorry, and we're moving up to the top of a box, ready to break. So that's what we're trying to catch. We're trying to catch those moves as they're coming in. And then obviously we're looking at, there's a lot of different concepts behind it and various types of mathematics, but that's basically what we're doing. We're also looking at Bollinger Bands, tightening, and whatever else. Moving averages, we're looking for crossovers, things of that nature. Support levels, touched, getting ready to bounce. That all factors in as like a scoring system. We also have, I've also developed an indicator suite. And I'll show you briefly here. This is me just looking at ASPI. Nuclear is pretty hot at the moment. I'm going to do a bit more deep diving into some of the stocks there that look pretty cool in the nuclear front. I've already bought into a couple that I'll talk about maybe later. But the indicator suite that we have from Purdy Financials, we have Astral, Galaxy, and Mobi. Galaxy first is like a trend-based reversal system. So basically, we're tracking chart movements, we're tracking trends, and we're looking at what's the current. If you look on the daily here, you can see that if it's in this kind of like greenish ribbon, that means that the bulls are in control. If it's red, that means the bears have control. So that's kind of a quick gauge on who's winning what. And then whenever we get this here diamond, or you can call it a Nova Cross, it indicates a break-in structure. Give me 2 seconds. Someone messaged me. So that's Galaxy, and then on the bottom we have Mobi. Mobi, sort of volume tracker. If you get the cyan color, this kind of light blue, that means we have large institutional buy-in. We've got large whales buying in, and they're clearly in control here. Whenever it slips to that purple, that means the bears have taken over, and you can kind of see that if you line it up with the chart. You can see that the volume kind of lines up with the movement, the price movement. If you get this, you see these yellow bars, you get these different shades of yellow. There's like a lime, an orange, and just a standard yellow. So if it's orange or lime means we're coming into support and buyers are in control, and they're trying to push the price up towards the next support. Where if it's an orange color, means the bears are in control and they're trying to really push the price down into the closest resistance. So that's the indicator suite. So that's everything that we have within Purdy Financials, really, that I have been developing over the last 6 months. We have the Cerebro scanner, we've got our custom indicator suite, and we have our insider whale alert tracking. So we try and keep track of, again, where that money's flowing. Great community. If you want to join, bears suck. If you want to join the community, there's a link on my X. There's also a link on my YouTube for WAP. You can go there and you can join in. It's all free open access at the moment. There's no paywalls, no gotchas, no nothing. Come on in, try it out. Really, the whole idea is to get people in, get them trying my system, see if they like it, and then I gather that feedback back, and then I implement that into everything we have in our product suite, and then we go from there. So it's really good. So over the last while, Cerebro's been running. It's helped me catch some plays. Like NMG. NMG is a graphite miner. So I'm actually in that one at the minute. ABAT as well. They're like battery recycling. Oh, okay, my brother. I'm also streaming live on X. Yeah, should be streaming live on X. Let me just go check that. I'm live on YouTube X. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube X and Kick. I don't know how good Kick is going to be. I think that's just for gamers. But we done it anyway. Just to see. So I have my brother message me. He's also an investor. He's going to probably pop in the stream now and then just to do some discussions. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing. I want to start off first with this video from Kathy Woods. Kathy Woods, if you don't know who Kathy Woods is, she's a very sort of, I would say, successful hedge fund manager. She was very good with ARK-K. ARK-K is like an innovation and technology ETF. That was really where they broke through. They had a massive performance. I can't remember, 2022, 2023, something like that. So then she's also in like genomics. She's got a space ETF, different things. So she's definitely
greetings, everyone.
Someone who
it is time for ARK's.
I would say know what she's talking about. A lot of really good research. She's talking about a lot of really good research.
And
so this is her big ideas for 2026 recap. So I just want us to listen to this a little bit and see if there's any gems in here, and then we'll get into the rest of the screen.
The marketing team and compliance and really almost all the teams at ARK, especially Katie, Keith, and Walker, who spent 8 hours to 16 hours a day in the last few days to really make this the final push. So very happy to introduce it to you again. And so I'll go very quickly through what hit me as we have been going through our research this past year and how we crystallized it in big ideas. I'd like to start with a section we're calling the Great Acceleration. And what we're trying to communicate is that AI is in early stages.
Yeah, she does sell too early.
And
she needs to let things run.
It has miles
I don't know if I fully agree with her BMNR.
Sure,
she cannibalized a lot of her big stocks just to buy a lot of BMNR. Hasn't really worked out for her.
Tech and telecom
she probably won't mention that.
As a percent of GDP is nearly as high now.
You see here I've got a lot of these recommended videos. There's all this like
bubble.
Mindfulness,
if you will remember,
pineal gland,
the tech
and
and
all this type of
telecom
stuff. Chakras and big into all that,
fiber,
all that
and
universal
most of it
stuff.
remained dark.
Bit of a geek for that.
Today, the GPUs are driving this cycle. And I'll
quick look,
steal
futures
from,
are looking pretty healthy this morning.
Brad Gerstner at Altimeter. He's saying those aren't dark. They're in short supply, and they are being used. And we agree completely
London
with
market.
that. We compare this capital spending cycle to the railroads in the 1800s. That got up to 5 to 6% of GDP. And then the automobile explosion in the early 1900s. That got up to 3 to 4% of GDP. And then we get to the tech and telecom bubble. That, when you added software and hardware, comm equipment together, that was about the same size as the auto capital spending cycle. And we're about there now. In this cycle,
we really want to see the 20-year and the 10-year starting to fall over here. They're still too high. They're still quite elevated. We'd love to see them coming down a bit.
Multi-omic sequencing, blockchain technology.
But really, the Japanese is what we need to look at here.
We think we're going a lot higher.
We need that.
We will go up to our capital spending.
I know there was talk of the States. We're going to sell. We're going to buy dollars. We're going to print dollars, sell them, and buy the Japanese currency.
As usual,
probably
economics,
not going to work out too well for the US short term in their bonds, treasuries, but might help the Japanese.
We believe we're fairly early in this cycle. So let me, before I go on to some of the productivity gains that we see, also highlight that as a result of this investment boom and the increased productivity that we see,
of our community members drinking too much tequila, making too much money.
Accelerate towards
making too much money,
7%
partying too much
plus range by 2030. The ingredients are all there, and it is also a hallmark of technology revolution.
Yeah, so bonds, Japanese, keep an eye on them. We want that to come
GDP.
down. Along with the US bonds, it's going to be tough.
Years until
really,
1900, for
the,
example, global GDP
I know Trump is going to announce a new Fed
0.6%.
chair potentially
and
next
then
week.
In the late 1800s,
really, he's been searching for that Fed chair. He can do the job, do it well,
of course we had the railroads,
and really start cutting down the interest rates.
Telephone, electricity,
it's probably going to be that guy from BlackRock.
Technology revolution. That 0.6% real GDP growth went to 3%.
If you start seeing interest rates getting slashed, I don't know how that would actually work out for bonds. But
five-fold step up in GDP growth. We're saying maybe
definitely have the money printer warmed up.
fold step up, but I actually think that's
Sectors,
conservative.
what's looking hot today?
Given the
Semiconductors looking hot.
5 innovation
up 3%
platforms evolving at the
pre-market.
same time: robotics, energy storage, artificial intelligence,
State Street technology, technology,
multi-omic
semiconductors. The big
sequencing,
rotate, the big
and
play at the
blockchain
minute is back in
technology.
technology. It did
And those
money did rotate
innovation
out
platforms are
there for a few weeks. It
converging.
was into other areas of
And
manufacturing.
that's what's
and,
causing the great
um,
acceleration here.
there's
So
probably a lot
I'll
of profit
take you
taken. There's been a lot of
through,
rotation into
a few of
assets,
the stats
hard
and-
assets.
And
We're
the
starting to see
aha
that come back
moments
in
we've
again. The
had
technology
this
trade
year,
comes back on.
as we were doing our research.
And it will be back
So
on.
Frank and Joseph on the AI infrastructure side.
Uranium looking good.
So we
Again,
believe that
This one
the
annoys me.
data
Uranium. I had
center,
this way back here. I think somewhere around 28, 30.
which
I had some of it, but it just I think I was buying here around 25, and it pulled back to
up
like
from
17,
up
18,
2.5
everything around
times
here.
from
I just wasn't
pre-
moving, and I got out of it, and then
ChatGPT.
up it
That
went.
that is actually going to
As
$1.4
usual.
trillion per year by 2030. Thank goodness we had the ChatGPT moment, because that was the aha
ChatGPT
moment for all of us.
ChatGPT,
Look
OpenAI, breakthrough
what I can
company,
do.
definitely broke through
This
with the
is a
best
miracle.
sort of best model at
And
the
now
time. Really took the
we
market.
see, as we've done the analysis, and you'll find this in
And then there's also
in
news today
Big
of
Ideas,
SoftBank. I
that-
think they're
that
increasing their
$20
investment or whatever it is into
subscription
OpenAI.
that each of us pays here. At
Problem I have with
ARC,
OpenAI is the more I
well,
use the
ARC
model
pays
and
for
compare it with
but
other
the
models like
$20
Gemini
per
or
seat,
even Claude, OpenAI just
subscription.
doesn't feel
And
like it's
in,
at the races
a
anymore. I think these
few
other models,
cases,
these
the
other LLMs are starting to overtake it.
per month subscription.
And I get a
for
bit
those
worried
heavy
because
users.
OpenAI has made
The
so many, it's got
$20
so many
we're paying
investments, it's so
off
integral
in
into the AI
about a
build out
half day's,
that if it starts
work.
using,
So the payoff
losing
time is
its user
almost
base
nothing,
and it can't really fulfill on its
as we are able to do our research
projected
and leverage our
revenue
time
targets, then
enormously. We also
that could be
think,
that could
and
be
this
very
is-
problematic. But
This is somewhat controversial.
maybe they can turn it
because
around, but at
software
the minute I just
stocks
think they're being
have
outperformed
been
by a lot
going
of the
through a
different
very
different
difficult
models. That's
time,
just my personal usage of it.
Ironically, through this AI
I think it's a bit
boom.
slower. I think some of
And
the other
it
ones are a
is
bit
because of the
cleaner in the way they do
disruption
stuff. I
that
think
AI is going to cause.
OpenAI, they
to
brought in a lot of
the-
guardrails
in
and really slowed it
particular
down and
SaaS,
limited in
but
what it
all
could do.
legacy
I think that was all to do with
software.
energy,
We think
just trying to keep the
that,
energy costs down.
software
They just guardrailed a load
will
of stuff
grow,
and
the
made it just
market
less
will
performant.
grow at roughly 19% in our bear case to, I think it's 54% per year in our bull case, up from 14% per year over the last 5 to 10 years.
Miners,
But you have
data
to
centers.
get on the right side of change. A lot
a really
of those
good day
software
yesterday.
companies are in the private markets.
Cipher had a 8-9%, I think.
OpenAI,
13%, sorry.
Anthropic,
New
XAI.
Era, 19%. New Year's a funny one. I had it, sold
And
it.
in the public markets,
Around
the real
4
success
something
story,
after,
of
but
course,
had
has
a bit of a
been in
bounce
the
back
platform as a
from the
service
this
part of
they had
the
that problem with the
tech
law
stack.
firm or
And
whatever
that, of
came
course,
against them.
the
There's like
poster
some
child
sort of
there is
allegation.
Palantir. So
And
again,
somebody where they used to
have
have
to get on the right
gas
side of change. I'm not saying
gas
that all the SaaS
pipelines or gas
providers
pipes or something.
are
They didn't
going
close
to
them
be
up right or
crushed.
whatever. But
It's going to be like
they had the
all
big.
legacy
They announced a big
players will
offering there of
probably
30,
have,
350
you know,
million,
the
which was
market
a lot
consolidated.
higher than
There'll
what a
be
lot of
one
people thought it was going to
very
be.
big player, you know, Walmart in retail, for
It's
example.
a strange one. They've
Is-
still got that court
is,
case hanging over them.
is
Could be a
how we're thinking
nothing.
about this. Or as we get into
I'm just not touching it at the
fintech
moment. I'd
and
rather wait
blockchain
to see
technology
how
and
that
DeFi
goes
disrupting the traditional financial world.
before I would get back in
JP
them. I have
Morgan's
Bitfarms.
probably going to be fine. It
have
is
Cipher.
harnessing these technologies, and it probably will
Iron,
consolidate
one of the
the
people in our
market.
community this morning said we had a fresh print
I'd
of
like
a,
to flip back to the consumer side. So I've just given you more the
we had
enterprise
a fresh
side.
print
On the consumer
of
side,
a breaking
so,
structure. And the last time that
Nick
happened, we had
and
a
Varshika
we
have
ran from
done this
7 up
work,
to
and
59.
I think they might have been 2 years ago the first ones to even think about this
You know,
concept
that was roughly
of
what?
an AI purchasing agent. Or
700%
now
move.
we're calling them AI assistants. Or,
You know, maybe we can, if
and
you had anything
other
like
such
that, you're back
things.
up to 90,
But
100.
based on
maybe.
that work, and you can see it in Big Ideas,
Definitely
they
realistic, I
believe
think.
that the
Iron could be a good play.
advertising market is going to go to 65%.
CleanSpark, I have some stock on. I really want to see that starting to do
in
something.
this
I've lost out
AI
a bit on this in the
space,
past
AI
with
generated
option
space.
contracts.
And that
I don't think it's fully been CleanSpark's fault. I think they were positioned well. If Bitcoin would have ran
of it will be
the way a lot of people thought it would, CleanSpark definitely would have seen a nice move, but obviously it didn't.
Stay tuned to, or definitely take a good
blame
look
Trump,
at
you
their
can blame
blogs
China,
and
however
their
you
big
want, but
ideas chart. David,
someone got rich off the back of it.
The Bitcoin
Close to
realm,
Trump.
it's been controversial this year because we had the drawdown after the
Anyway,
flash
data centers,
crash
yes. I'm
at
holding
10:10,
Bitfarms. Bitfarms is probably my largest
in
holding as far as data
October.
centers go.
We think that a lot of the deleveraging associated
They've got some
really, that
press
was a
thing coming up
software
today.
glitch, I think, at
Moses
Binance.
Lake, one of their facilities, or one of
that
them things they're planning for. I'll have to look into a bit
automated
more, but they're the one
deleveraging,
I'm holding the most in. I just think
caused $28 billion
they're strategically
of carnage.
paced where they're
We
building their
think
data
we've worked
centers.
through that now.
I think they'll get
And I
some sort
think
of
the
deal with
main
Amazon. That's just
question
what my gut's
on,
telling me on that one. So I'm holding it for now.
Bitcoiners' minds is
Probably held it a bit longer than what I would have liked. I've kind of missed out
finished
maybe a
with
little bit
the
more
traditional
of the
four-year
good runners in the likes of space or
Every
rare
4
earths.
years a downdraft in the cycle.
But probably
we're
not going to give up
beginning
on it
to
just
think
yet.
we
I think
are,
that's just that sector's
although we
far
could
too, it's just
base
way too
here in
hot.
the $80,000 to $90,000
And I think it's going to
range for a
just
while.
really
But we
surprise
do
everybody.
believe the next
Some of these data center
inflection
plays
is
actually
up.
to what they can
And
get to.
while I know we got
Definitely,
a lot
if
of
they're
publicity
bringing out that
this
new
year
legislation
because
now
we
where
talked about
the users of
stablecoins
these data
usurping,
centers actually have to pay for the
one of the
electricity,
roles
so that's pulling, that's
Bitcoin
covering
to
a lot of their
play.
capex
Now,
costs,
we
their
expected
operational
this 10
costs.
years ago before stablecoins happened on the
And
scene.
Bitfarms, again, also if they're they're
in
not
terms
rushing
of
into getting any of these
remittances,
contracts signed into,
and
they're holding back,
emerging
just waiting for the
market, activity,
for the best
we're
deal
seeing
possible.
Stablecoins usurp that
So
role
it's a
that
good
we
strategy.
thought,
I mean, there's no point
Bitcoin,
rushing into it at the moment, but I don't think you want to wait too long either.
That doesn't take
again,
away,
you want
though,
to
from
try and
what we
strike
think
when the iron's
ultimately
hot
will
too.
happen to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's role as digital gold has miles to go. Interestingly, and you'll see this in my New Year letter, the
She's such a maxi.
correlation between Bitcoin and gold has been almost non-existent.
She's not
over
wrong either.
Bitcoin's
I think we have the
life.
Crypto Structure Act. I think it's
Nonetheless,
up to the Senate
we
on
do
Friday.
think
From what
it
it's
is
hard to know.
not
Like you see a lot of
only a
different posts about
risk-on
Crypto
asset,
Structure Act
thanks
here. A
to the
lot
new
of misinformation
technology,
around crypto as always. But
it is
from what I
also
read,
a
I think that's
risk-off
going to Senate
asset.
on
It's a hedge
Friday.
against
I don't know if it's another
inflation.
markup or they actually have a
Its growth rate
version
is
of it they want to vote
lower
on.
than gold.
Sounds like it's getting
growth rate,
close.
and I'll bet gold miners
That's really what crypto's holding back on at the
doing
minute.
their darndest to get more of that stuff out of the ground now that they're being paid so much more. That can't happen with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin
Bitcoin's
miners,
finite.
mathematically metered to top out at 21 million units. So we do think it will be a very important store
Gold,
of value
again,
going forward,
silver.
particularly as we go through the intergenerational wealth transfer that we expect during the next 5, 10, 15 years. We also had a lot more on DeFi and tokenized assets. Stablecoins, just a little bit more on that. I think we passed $300 billion globally in stablecoins. We saw a very large increase in tokenization on public blockchains, up to 19 billion. Now, that's a large increase. I think that was a tripling or maybe even more in the last year. But we ultimately think that's going to 11 trillion, highlighted by public equities, sovereign debt, and bank deposits. So it's going to be a very big market. And we are putting out a DeFi quarterly now to accompany our Bitcoin quarterly. So stay tuned, pay a lot of attention there because there's a lot of excitement brewing, and there will be a lot of dislocations in the financial sector because of this wholesale shift really to a new technology.
Cerebro picked up on a really
so we're pretty
interesting stock
excited about
in
that.
this morning's results.
The other
to
thing
do
we'd
with
like
the,
to highlight is
tokenization of gold into like a rich real world asset. I'll talk about that in a little while.
Their productivity
Whenever we go through the
astonishing.
Cerebro results.
Tether, for example, last year,
I'm just going to get those ready.
I believe, delivered $50 million per employee That is unheard of. But we think that the capitalizing on all of these new technologies is going to drive productivity gains much higher than people can even postulate right now. And with that, while many people are afraid, given the robotics movement of, and AI, everyone being thrown out of jobs, we disagree.
Sorry, it wasn't Cerebral, it wasn't a scanner that picked it up, it was an insider buy.
Opportunities for the entrepreneurial spirit in history. Especially because you can go to ChatGPT or Grok and say, I think there's a huge unmet need for this, that, or the other product or service. Think about it.
3 million.
And I would like to start that business. Boy, when we started ARC, I would have loved to have
$3
a
million,
starting point like
$3 a share.
And you can work
1 million shares.
With ChatGPT, XAI, Grok, to build your business. Try it. If you're looking for a job, figure out what's that unmet need. I'm going to try and start that business. And believe me, starting a business, very exciting, exhilarating actually.
So these guys are already up 6.85% pre-market.
90% of all startups
Somebody got it at $3 a share. They've already made $1 million
Make
since
sure
they bought
you're
it.
addressing a real unmet need. And then harness.
So how do we know that? We
AI,
got it here.
harness
Stacks.
blockchain
So
technology,
again,
harness
within
any of
WAP,
these
you
new
go to WAP, you get
technologies.
access to our Discord.
Now,
got this
when we
insider
get
wheel
to
alert channel,
multi-omics,
end of every
normally
day.
eyes start glazing over.
Usually
But I think
late at night we get a
multi-omics,
report
which is
of
life
all the big buys during the day.
sciences,
So
and
Stacks,
really
this
the
is how we.
convergence
That's how I noticed this
among
one.
sequencing technologies, artificial intelligence,
Give you a summary of who
and
they are.
new technologies like CRISPR gene editing. What are we doing? We're diagnosing cancer in stage 1 or before stage 1. Polyps also shed into the blood. And this is just with blood tests.
Yes, DMAX Corp upraises a real-world asset
of drug
tokenization and
discovery
engages in
and
the provision of
development.
blockchain technology to
We think it could
tokenize
drop
physical
from
commodities such as
2.4
gold
billion
and
for
create
one
related
drug,
financial products.
To roughly
I looked at it
700
briefly.
million over the next 4
A big part of it
years.
is to do
And
with the
that, of
price of
course,
gold and what
includes
yield
the
they get back on
failures
that.
along the way.
So the more
And
gold
then
goes
most
up, the higher their
provocatively,
yield's going to be, the
Shay,
larger the return will
has
be.
done an amazing job of documenting.
They had a public offering that closed for
what
35
a
million.
cure is going to be worth, and I have to give Brett Winton incredible credit as he
Didn't seem to
partnered
really
with Shay,
phase the stock too much.
on this project to
Definitely one
try
to
and figure out
watch.
how much is a cure worth.
STEX.
And we
Stream
think
X.
while the cure for HAE, which is a very rare disease,
The future of gold is liquid
would
and
be
yield
worth
generating.
$11 million.
Institutional
One and
grade
done.
gold
You
backed
get this
stable
treatment,
coin.
and you're done. That's Intellia's
interesting.
trial right now, and it's in vivo. You don't have to go through any excruciating preconditioning. It could be worth 11 million. That's how much it would save the system. But they'll probably be able to charge 3 million. And believe me, insurance companies, they will have no problem with that. So take a look at that section. It's fascinating. It's the best one we've ever done. And then we get into reusable rockets. And it is
SpaceX,
astonishing.
reusable rockets.
SpaceX, 10 years ahead of any competitor. It landed its first reusable rocket in 2015. And now it owns 2/3 of the satellite market and something like 85% of all of the upmass put into orbit. And of course, now we've discovered a new use case, and it couldn't happen without reusable rockets. Data centers in space. And this is a fairly new introduction to, our line of thinking, and of course inspired by Elon
Talking about
himself.
rockets, there's a
So
lot
take
of
a look at our reusable rocket
in
section.
the post yesterday,
and
there was a
be
lot of
inspired
unusual
by
call
that
activity coming in
whole
the
new
rocket
world
companies,
that's being
RKT.
developed. Many people, when they're talking about automation and AI and unemployment, one of the things I say is, wait a minute, there are two new worlds evolving here. outer space, a completely new world. All kinds of jobs are going to be associated with that. And then in the digital realm, now, thanks to blockchain technology, we are seeing immutable property rights in the digital realm for the first time. The best way to lift people and countries out of poverty is with immutable private property rights. And that's what we have, and it's just starting. So we're pretty excited about that. And then we've got distributed energy. We've done a lot with nuclear power this past year. Daniel and Sam Chorus, who've also done our reusable rocket work. It's excellent research. They have done our work on nuclear power as well. And it is shocking to see how regulation stunted the growth of nuclear in the mid-70s. If regulation had not stopped the cost declines for developing nuclear plants from continuing, electricity costs today would be 40% lower than they are now. So we have high hopes that nuclear power is going to help us once again, as they scale, drive down the cost of electricity and be a counterforce to the demands that AI and data centers are tasing on our grid right now. So take a look at that work. And then, of course, Tasha Keeney and Daniel, again, on other autonomous vehicles. So we've got robots and rockets, other autonomous vehicles, of course, robotaxis. And we believe that we are in the midst of the birthing of the robotaxi market. And you've seen our work there. We've updated it to show that Tesla's competitive edge over Waymo is
how is Tesla looking these days?
Well,
I haven't
at least
checked
according
Tesla in
to
a
our
while.
estimates, increased. We used to think that their cost structure, Tesla's cost structure, would be 35% lower than Waymo's. But as we have refined our analysis, we now believe it's going to be
They have earnings
50% lower. And it is very
after hours
interesting
today.
to watch Uber and
That's interesting.
others
So
trying to
if we were to look at this from a
insinuate
technical, if we were to use the
themselves
indicators,
into
it looks like
this space. They know it's important.
I could almost
but we
tell
have
you
been
now that
saying all along
earnings is
and
not going to
still
go well.
believe that Uber and others
That's the way it's shaping up.
will be lead generators for Tesla.
Could write a couple of puts here if you want to, if you're feeling
Waymo,
frisky. It's up
which
to
will
yourself.
probably be number two.
I don't really think they're seeing any of the real profits coming through yet that they need. I don't know how they're. I haven't really been keeping up to date with how sales are going, but
that Tasha and Daniel did this
should
year
be interesting after market
was
close today.
on, the percent of urban miles that Uber covers right now in the United States. It's about 1%. And so we did a calculation. How many autonomous vehicles would Tesla have to produce, or Waymo, to cover 1% of urban miles? That would be 140,000 units. Now, what would be the number? How many vehicles would it take to cover all urban miles? And that number is only 24 million. That is less than 10%
I'm just hearing rich tech
of the
robotics. I've
installed
diluted.
base of autos in the U.S. today. So that is a U.S. That is U.S. analysis.
38.7 million. It's not too bad.
We know that auto sales right now they're at roughly 15 million
The market cap.
per year. That gives you a
1.19 billion.
sense of how much the auto
much.
market, in terms of vehicles produced, could shrink And yet we could still cover with autonomous vehicles, which obviously have much higher utilization than personal vehicles. We drive our cars 4 to 5% of the day, whereas an autonomous vehicle could be 50, 60% of the day. So you get the sense of how much the vehicle market could shrink, and still we'd be able to satisfy 100% of all the urban miles in the United States today. And we do think that
Kathy's such a Tesla bull.
that the autonomous vehicle market
I'm pretty sure she sold a lot of her Tesla stock though for BM&R.
5 billion, 34
She used to own
trillion,
Path.
billions, trillions.
She sold a lot of that as well.
$34 trillion in market cap.
I own Path. It's been really
by 2030. In 2030, 30
stock to
for
hold.
the
Again
global
today, just
ecosystem,
not really doing much.
Not only
I think
the auto providers
we're
and
going
the
to lose
lead
next
generators,
earnings before
but most importantly, the platform
or
providers.
some sort of announcement.
And they will
I
get
think
the lion's
an earnings
share
or an
of the
announcement might get
economics,
it to
as
pick up a bit of pace
Tasha
again.
and Daniel show you.
A little bit,
And then finally, autonomous
a little
logistics.
bit of a dead stop sometimes.
Autonomous trucks will cut delivery costs.
This is all
by
my actual
60%.
open trades. These are all the trades I currently have open at the
Drones
moment.
and
We're
rolling
going to go through them
robots
just briefly
are
once.
also going to cut
we're done
delivery
with
costs
Kathy here.
dramatically. Did you know there are already 4 million deliveries per year by drones? Now, to be sure, Zipline, one of the companies in our venture fund, is responsible for, I think, half of those. But we believe that the cost to deliver by drone will cut delivery costs. Right now, DoorDash, $15 per to less than $1. So a 90% reduction over time. So this is another huge market percolating out there. And we're so excited because we believe we're now in the prime time for the reason I founded ARC. I founded ARC in 2014 for this reason. I felt that ARC's research would fulfill an unmet need. And I'm very proud of the research we're doing. It's the kind of research that investment banks used to do when the M&A market was much more vibrant than it has been for the last 4 years. Under the last FTC, it was shut down. So our research has met or fulfilled an unmet need. And we're so happy to see our research in the startup decks of so many startups out there. Because what are startups doing? They're heads down, trying to innovate as fast as they can. And what are we doing? We're helping to size the markets they're going after. I think that the wall of worry that we have been facing in the last few years around innovation is great. I think it's great because, of course, there are risks associated with innovation. But we think that the flywheel now is in place so that this innovation age is unstoppable. And we'd welcome you to read our big ideas.
Read our big ideas, buy our ETFs. That's what Kathy's after. Great. Great, I'd say, all-round investor. She definitely looks for them emerging markets. She's done quite well. So Rich Tech Robotics, if you're in that, they've announced a private placement at the market, 38.7 million. So that's pushing that down a little bit in pre-market here. I don't think that's going to bother them too much. It's kind of very small in comparison to the actual size of Rich Tech at the moment. Okay, so just quick run through my open trades. I've got 80M, 80 Mile PLC. 80 Mile, they are a UK company, I believe, and they have the rights to various sites in Greenland and few some other countries, some other regions, but it was really the Greenland ones that are of interest to me. They're due to make a merger. They're due to have a merger soon with another company, and then they're going to be listed on the Nasdaq, I believe, under Greenland Energy. Yeah, so here. So they recently acquired White Flame Energy. So East Greenland. The company is one of the world's most compelling undrilled hydrocarbon basins. So they have an agreement with March GL. Drilling of these 2 wells is going to commence. So whatever way the merger works out, 80 Mile still has a 30% retained interest. Sort of values them at 92 million, which is a lot higher than their current market cap. They also have access to this nickel, copper, cobalt project in Greenland. It's 100% owned by 80 Mile, as well as something down the Dundas limonite project. So I have these in my portfolio. I think the merger and the listing under Greenland Energy under the Nasdaq is meant to happen soon. It was supposed to be happening towards the start or some sort of towards the middle of January. It's been pushed back a bit for whatever reason, but that shouldn't be too far away. I think that once that happens, we should see a good rise in that stock. So that's why I'm in there. ABAT, I hold ABAT. I'm thinking I'm going to get a run here to around $8, I hope. That's where I'm sort of aiming for, and that's where I'll take a lot of profit. Might not get that run before their earnings, but it's one of those companies that I could see the US government coming in and taking a stake in them. It just screams that to me, really. I know they've got a big footprint in Texas, and they're all to do with like the development, marketing, lithium ion batteries. They have a bit of recycling. I think they'd have some sort of mining activity, I'm not sure. Archer Aviation I have. I have some leaps in it actually. I bought them last year. They expire in April, so I really need that to get back up to around $12 by April. I don't know if it's going to happen, but hopefully we can get close to it, and then I can just sort of get rid of those. And then I would probably move into some stock at a later date. I think Archer, they're a company that's, I think eVTOLs are going to be massive. I think the Archer are going to be a massive company. I just don't know how quickly that's going to happen. So yeah, Big Bear, we're on a really sort of tight channel here, descending triangle with an upside breakout potentially happen here. Big Bear have made a few acquisitions lately. They bought Sage. Sage handles a lot of governmental contracts. That's the platform. They also bought one a few days ago. We actually just had a partnership deal come out this morning. Actually, I need to look at that. Who did they buy? Cargo Seer. So they made an acquisition of Cargo Seer. Cargo Seer, border control, ports, airports, AI threat detection, really just plays into Big Bear's moat, really. Identity, threat, people, cargo, whatever it is. I think you're going to see them in every US port, airport, as well as naval. They have naval, I think, shipbuilding platforms, so they can really increase productivity of actually, shipbuilding, as well as wartime software, so the actual building of the ships, and then into that combat ready environment where they use AI on the battlefield. So Big Bear, I hold. I think it's gearing up for something, and I think it's just waiting a few contract announcements. They did have a contract with the army that was cancelled last year. That
Companies are going to keep
sort of hurt the stock a little bit, but
bringing you
they
market guests and
on the last earnings I was listening to, the CEO was quite confident that the big beautiful bill was going to bring some new contracts in. So that's really why I'm hanging in there at the moment. So I'd like to see that move up. Again, Bitfarms I've talked about already. It's my data center play. I think they've got a great, I think they've got a really good strategy in what they're trying to do. They're positioning themselves for the next generation of AI data center infrastructure in the NVIDIA Rubin. So I'm hanging in there just on stock really, and a few leaps that, again, hopefully I can make a bit of money back on them, and then I'll just probably cut them. Bitcoin, I have some Bitcoin. I own crypto. I own Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ondo, and XRP. Just all. I don't touch leverage in crypto. I just spare money. I just buy some of it and then hold it for the long term. So yeah, it's looking good here in pre-market. I think you'll see that as we approach Friday. Friday was the expected date for the Crypto Structure Act. I think it's going to Senate, or maybe for a vote, or else it's going for another markup, something like that. Cypher, CleanSpark, DGXX. These are a few more data center plays I have. I have Kraken. I've been holding Kraken from really around $4. I trimmed a bit lately just to move into a few other positions, but still holding a lot of shares in Kraken. LAC is my lithium play. I think they have one of the largest lithium sites in the States. So I'm holding stock and options in that. Les, or Seal SQ, Lays, whatever we call it, Lies. French company, I believe. They're to do with, and they've recently got some deals with India to do. They're going to be doing their production out of India. Quantum technology, so it's all like quantum safeguard technology. So it's semiconductors, chips that are hardened against any sort of quantum attack. Everything I read on them should be a big year for that. I think they're going to be a big player throughout 2026. So yeah, I would definitely check them out if you haven't done so already. It could be a big one. Lot is one of my Australian miners. At the start of the stream I talked about how I was buying up some Australian stocks, miners. Because the Australian dollar is gaining in value against a lot of the other currencies. So every dollar you convert, or every pound you convert, buy some Australian dollars. Essentially you're making money, and the Australian miners are going to see some outperformance. So Lot's one of them. Australian company, they have 80% access, or they own 80% access to a large site in Malawi. It's uranium. From what I remember reading, it's just one of the largest sites worldwide, and they have, they own 80% of it. So that's why that's a lot. That was actually picked up by Cerebro, our market scanner. Picked it up one morning, and then I done a bit of research, and then I bought into it. ARU also, an Australian miner that I own there, to do with, I believe it's magnets. They produce something like, or the materials for 4% of the world's supply, something like that. So ARU and Lot are my two Australian companies at the minute. NB Neocorp, I have some stock in. Again, minerals, super alloys, Nebraska, titanium, etc. NMG I bought up yesterday. They're graphite. Screener, Cerebro was just picking up on this one for a couple of weeks now, so I decided to buy into it and see how it goes. I would like to see a wee 2x play here. I think it's realistic, just to test those recent highs, or those local highs. So yeah, if we can get above 360, we got clear skies, and it's not too far away. So NMG would check out. ONS, I think everybody owns a bit of ONS. ONS I started buying way back when it was sub $1. I bought it at sub $1, ran up to $7 or $8, something like that. I sold back, took some profits, it ran up again. I bought back in, I sold around 8 or 9, and then it went up a wee bit, and then it pulled back, and I bought in again around here, and then it's went up again ever since. So I hold a lot of stock and various options in that. OSRH, OSR Holdings. This is one that the market's sleeping on. They're a biotech company. I can't remember exactly what they do, but their market cap's only like 17 million, and they recently won a deal where they were initially given like 30 odd million up front. Yeah, so they won this license. They got 30 million up front and up to 815 million in milestones, which is massive for a company that only has a market cap of 17. So I think the markets are just have been sleeping in this play. So I've got some stock in there, just waiting for everybody to realise what's going on. So I'm just positioned before that. Again, Cerebro Scanner picked up on that. That's what it's designed to do. It helps us find these opportunities early before anybody else knows of them. Path, holding Path, some leaps. Disappointing. I think we need some good recent news, or we need before earnings to really see this moving. If not, it'll be after earnings. I might sell some of my contracts in this. I'm not sure yet. Poet, I have January 2027, some leaps. I think around $10 strike. So it's moving all right. They had a big offering or a dilution lately. Yeah, the $150 million share offering, so that pulled the stock back a bit, but that's fine. They're in the commercialization now. They're just building up the war chest, so no problem with that. Redwire, great performer. Yesterday they had there was an announcement that they're being selected for the Shield program. I don't think we found out what that would look like in value terms, but I have Redwire. I have contracts like leaps in Redwire that I might take some profit on them soon, because a 30% jump in a day is massive. I think there's still good volume in here. I'll probably just use the indicators for this one actually. So the weekly's still there. The weekly's still strong. Great thing about our indicator suite, you can come into the likes of any chart really. You can add an alert, and then I want to know when this flips bearish on the weekly, and then once it does, I think it definitely will be out. I'll take profit then. Daily, we did have a bearish structure here, which we did push down, but then obviously yesterday we had the contract announcement, so that's probably going to break that. That'll invalidate that, and then we should get a fresh print on a bullish structure. But we'll wait until that happens, and then I'll probably look for the bearish downside, the bearish break on the daily, and that will probably be my take profit level for Redwire. I'm just going to let it run for now. I don't want to cannibalize my plays too early, because we just have that mass volume coming in there. Look at that on the daily. It's just there's a lot of momentum behind that. I don't want to sell out too early. I want to try and milk this a wee bit. I'll just trim it down as I can. Resolve AI, I bought back in actually here, 282, so I bought some contracts here. I just had some spare cash and was looking through what looked like a good opportunity, and I spotted it and thought, yeah, that looks good. They only pulled back because they had an offering. Before that, they were flying. They had a really good report or something to do with profits in Q4 around November, December. That you'll see in the next earnings. Like their next earnings, I think, are going to be fantastic. Says AI, I think a lot of people know them. They're an AI battery tech. I think they just have they're in a really good tailwinds there. The only problem I have with this one is that an officer came out and he sold like 250,000 shares, which is quite big. That kind of sets a few alarm bells ringing for me. Like, why would one of the chief officers sell that amount of shares? Whenever it was, in my opinion, close to a big move to the upside. It could be for whatever reason, whatever personal stuff he's got going on, but it's a large stock sale nonetheless. TLT I was supposed to be a hedge. This is probably one of my worst performers. It was supposed to be a hedge against any sort of market turbulence, but in hindsight, shouldn't have touched it. Like, the whole bond market's just getting short at the minute. It wasn't a great play, but I'm holding it for now just to let it recover. Hopefully it can still work out. The hedge is set up as its contract, its leaps for January 2027. I think around 105, so I needed to get 105. That's my strike price. So I can still let that play out throughout the year. If we do have a new Fed chair comes in and he aggressively cuts rates, this is when you'll see the likes of TLT taking off. So we'll just hold out for that one. A couple here at the minute. I bought a little bit of Texas Mineral Resource Corps. Basically, I'm thinking they're going to catch a lot of the upside movement from USAR. I have a alert set here. I see at $1.12. If that gets triggered, I'll probably buy some more. But we're really just coming down and filling this gap. Once that's filled, I expect that to take off again. So yeah, if you're looking at rare earth play, this could be a good one. They have a 20% stake or 25% share stake in one of the in a mine with USAR. So yeah, that's looking. If you're looking to get in on something like that, that could be a good asymmetric bet. THM, International Tar Hills. So this was picked up in our daily report here. So we had 40 million. We had a $40 million buy at $2.22 a share, $2.22, and it's already up to 2.87, so $2.87. So you know you can work that out. He's already up what, 10 mil, and then it's up up another 6%. It's up now to $3. More, he's banked 10, 12 mil there already. I have some fresh capital I might put into this at the minute. It could be similar to HYMC type play. So THM, take a look at that. TMR as well. I think I just talked about that. So that's kind of the portfolio I have at the minute. Quite broad, spread out. I'd like to, as I've talked about, cut down on some of the plays I have. Some of the underperformers really says I just don't like the way there was a big officer sale. Still think it's going to be a great stock, but not great. But really, the big thing for me, Bitfarms is one of my largest holdings. I really need to see that starting to move soon. I've been holding that for a bit longer than I would have liked, but I just don't think it's a good idea to sell at the minute. Not if Bitcoin's about to make a move higher, and they're close to getting some sort of deal signed, or at least approval on some sites. I think they need the approvals first before they can really get the deals done.
The kind of key question for Wall Street is, what do they say about the future? Do they continue to include the phrase that in considering the extent and timing of additional moves in the Federal Reserve rate? That's going to be the key thing to look for in the statement today, additional adjustments. And if they don't do anything along those lines, it will be kind of snoozy, except for...
So yeah, hot sectors at the minute, rare earths. NMG I already have, talked about it a bit before, USAR. Is it going to pull back anymore? I don't know, I doubt it. I think here, this was the test. I think this was setting your resistance here. Or this was your support level being figured out. I think you'll see USAR moving a lot higher. MB I have. Some of these other rare earth companies I want to do a bit more of analysis on, but UAMY, Antimony is a company that I'm hearing a lot of chatter about, so I want to look into that a bit more. It might be something to make a move on. Copper, I don't know. I think it will have its day, I just don't think it's quite yet. I think you want to stay in uranium, silver, gold. Yeah, EAMY is probably your plays before we go to copper.
Certainly whoever gets the job is going to get a side eye from Wall Street because the president says he's not appointing anybody who isn't committed to cutting interest.
So like I talked about at the start of the stream, we have Cerebro here. Start of every day, does a full market scan, brings us back a list of good setups. It does a lot of technical analysis. Also looks at the sectors, see which sectors are hot at the minute, and then it's all like a scoring system to get these results. So every day I bring them in, I have a watch list for them. I just refresh it. So here we have GLP. You can see the kind of setups of this. Like if you know anything about technical analysis, you look at this on the weekly, right? You've got that 200. You've got the 200 weekly MA coming through here as a support. It's kind of just went down to try and touch it and bounced a couple of times here, and it looks like it wants to break higher. So global partners engages in purchasing, selling, storing and logistics of transporting petroleum and related products. Pretty self-explanatory why that popped up. VOC is an energy trust. I've seen this a couple of times now. Energy, again, big play, if you're an energy trust. Makes sense to me. Oil and gas pipelines, DKL. Restaurants, Yum China. There's a good one. If you like the Chinese markets, Yum C might be good for you. Yum China. Could be a good setup. PSTS and then NWG. So those are the cerebral stocks at the minute. So again, our community, they get this report every day and they can go through it, see if there's anything they like. It's helped us find a lot of good plays already, such as ABAT, NMG, LAC, etc. So that's basically everything I want to talk about today. So this is really going to be the format for the stream. Just jump on, do a wee bit of macro chat, talk about the portfolio, talk about any plays that I'm currently sizing up or that I'm hearing about, and then we can chat them over. I'll even do some stock analysis in the future. For anybody that jumps in, they have a stock they like or a company they've been watching, they want to do a bit of a deeper dive on it or whatever. We can definitely do that. So yeah, best of luck today, everybody. Thanks for dropping in, and yeah, good luck. Hopefully you have a good day.